Like, what does this mean? He said that I definitely should play ZSS. He said, I'll practice her. I'll definitely ask you some questions, though. I know my ZSS will be raw. This is our good friend. If you made it this far and either want to support the channel or rep the coolest character in the game, check out my channel's shop tab. Here you'll see one of the sickest Zero Suit merch drops of all time. And by the way, only the coolest people are allowed to rep this. So get yours now, alright? What's up, squad? We are back. Another episode.
How are we doing, AT?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. With my boy Doorstop, so I've never been better.
Absolutely. Good to be back. A little late this week, but that's because I was in a good place.
Yeah, oh yeah. If you were
in that chair right next to him.
Exactly, and you'll be here soon.
Again, yeah.
Yep.
For an in-person, offline podcast soon.
Yes, sir. About a week and a half, we'll have you here. Jeff probably won't be here for the podcast, but we'll have a few others. We got some crazy news, actually.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me go.
As of today, I'm glad we delayed the episode.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
It was a little dry in the Zero Suit verse until this afternoon, this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the tweet at work, so that's
Yep, I messaged. Well, actually, I saw this tweet from a top player saying something in Japanese about Zero Suit. So I sent it to him. I'm like, what does this mean? He's like, let me just read you the message real quick.
Oh, okay. I didn't know there was further lore. I only saw the one.
So I sent his tweet to him. And I'm like, what does this mean? He said that I definitely should play ZSS. He said, I'll practice her. I'll definitely ask you some questions, though. I know my ZSS will be raw. So this is our good friend Neo. And if Neo's jumping
ZSS.
on the train, that's free content right there.
There might be hope, dude. In fact, actually, like, if he plays like Zero Suit for 5 minutes in bracket, the next shoe stats graphic is gonna like have him as the top Zero Suit. Ours is done.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I would love to see him like be able to express himself too. I know how, like, we both know how good he is at the game.
Yeah. And
Corin definitely, like, she has her strengths and weaknesses, but I feel like Zero Suit's such an expressive character. You can, you know, she's less straightforward, but she also allows you to do so many things that, like, you just can't do, especially because Corin's slow. Her movement's not nearly what Zero Suit is, like, at all. So I think
like, whenever Neo compared himself to Shattuck, because he like would do this a lot actually.
Mm-hmm.
He would generally describe himself as the more movement and combo heavy Corin, whereas he thought Shattuck's neutral was just straight up better.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't disagree with that in the slightest. I think like a lot of people who just watch like the two of them individually will be like, whatever, he's doing Corin things, they're doing Corin things. Like, but like if you like watch the combos that Neo hits, like Neo always gets that like 0 to 60, and Shattuck tends to cut combos like a lot shorter. And also like Neo's just like loves to constantly be doing things, whereas like Shattuck's like way more chill, just like doing nothing for a while.
Yeah.
And like I think the results are really comparable. I would definitely give Shattuck like the slight edge these days, but like very slight. Like I think a lot of people don't know how badly Neo's been messing up like Oceania. Like he's very high placing. What was that tournament where he beat like everyone in his pool besides he beat Kurt? I know that, right?
Yeah. He just like popped off. I don't remember what it was. Wasn't that like an invitation? Or no, that was like a real tournament, right?
It seemed legit enough to me. Like I saw some big names there, and I think Neo was like the second highest placing person at that tournament. And I think there's only one person he lost to, and I can't remember who it was. Like, my gut wants to say Ken for some reason, but I'm not sure.
I do think he lost to Ken. I don't remember what that tournament was called, though. But regardless, I think seeing Neo, like, kind of take the chains off a little bit. Like, it'll definitely be hard. Zero Suit's really difficult to, like, get into.
Now, a lot of people would say that's a very controversial statement, taking the chains off by going from Corin to Zero Suit these days.
Movement-wise.
yeah.
Strictly movement-wise. But, maybe it was Asimo.
Yeah, actually definitely was Asimo. He's 100% right, because he was talking about how Asamo looked broken going in, and I think that was like one of our foreshadowing to how Asamo was about to do at Supernova.
Yeah.
Was that event right there? You're absolutely correct. Yeah, but like still, like Neo did incredible. Like he beat a lot of the top Japanese players there, and like most notably, he beat Hurt. And like everybody agrees that Corrin Snake's like not too like it's very difficult for Corrin. And it's not the first time he's beaten a top snake either. He like beat Apollo Kage pretty handily too, if I recall.
That was like peak Corrin era where everyone's like, yeah, Corrin only loses to, you know, the top whatever characters and Snake. And then Neo was just and Sheik. Neo beats. Didn't he beat Webb?
He almost did. He lost.
Oh, okay.
It was like he beat AK. Like his bracket was like horrible, but he still beat AK, and then he had Webb afterwards, and I think he like barely lost game 5.
Yeah,
because that was the Momocon, I think, right, where Webb made top 8.
Yep. Or no, wasn't it? It was the one that Shattuck won in Florida, right? Or maybe it was
the Cirque.
No, the Luminosity tournament, Miami.
You might be right. That
Luminosity
actually sounds...
makes moves, Miami. I think it was that.
That sounds correct.
But
I do think that Webb did win. I think that I'm like pretty sure.
Yeah. I think you're right about that.
But I think it was close still.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, Neo, like a bad matchup doesn't really like stop him. I don't think, like, traditionally, like everybody's like, oh, Corrin gets hard countered by Snake. You know, Neo's beating her. Like he was beating Hurt back then too. Like it's not like he just
really.
Yeah, he was doing well like across the board. And I'll never forget when Neo came here and he was like talking about like all the tournaments he went to and stuff. Like he would fly out to like China, I don't know, maybe like South Korea or something. But he's fighting like Kameme, beating him like first try. It's like so random. He like beats all these top players, frees up so many people. I'm like, where did he come from?
He freed me up like bad. I got fucked. So like, I had played Neo at a local once while he was in town, and we had actually a really good set there. Really like close game 5, very back and forth. We played a Diamond Dust. That is probably the worst I have gotten shit on in like. Oh, it was so bad.
Dude,
like
crazy.
I need to be watching my language, but like, dude, it was that bad. Like,
No, he is.
I'm not proud of how I played it in general, but I've played bad and had way better sets than that.
Yeah.
That was tough. I got bodied.
Yeah, there's just something about it. Like fundamentally, he's very, very good, and I think on top of that, like I feel like he just likes combos and stuff and like figuring out, you know, what he can get off of things. And Corrin also, you know, boosts that where if you're not getting a combo, you're getting a frame trap, and he just like takes it so far. But back to the whole Shattuck Neo conversation. The way Neo was describing it to me, which, you know, if we have him on here, he could tell us better. But Neo, obviously the combo heavy player, but Shattuck would prefer frame traps versus true combos, I guess, or like the tight, like super true, like falling back hit of back up air into another one, and then like reset on a platform. Like, you know, Shattuck definitely has gotten better at that stuff too, like over time.
Yeah.
But I think he just values different things, and it just shows. And it was really cool seeing both of them do super well too, because it was like just two different styles being successful. I think that's sick.
Yeah. And then like they learned from each other, but they weren't each other, you know, like I'm always a huge fan of character expression, which is actually like one of the things I think like Neo will really like about Zero Suit is I think Ultimate got like a bajillion different characters, but I don't think a lot of the characters can be played a bajillion different ways. I think there is like definitely things that distinguish like every characters, like even like the difference between like Game and Watches or something, which is like I can see the difference between Mia and every other Game and Watch, right? Like that's like, I mean, obviously there's like skill difference, but there's a lot of expression there too, just like the way that he like his thought process and where he goes into things. But most characters do not have like the ability to be played as many different ways as Zero Suit. Zero Suit can be played like because she has so much freedom of movement, and her solutions to like the way you have to think about her solutions are so non-standard. So many people who pick her up like find different ways to answer the exact same problems.
Mhm.
And also there's like so many different problems that are like one-time things that like get solved different ways. Like me, Mars, Shu all look nothing like each other, and I don't think you have to be a Zero Suit player to see that. And similarly, I think like just even the way that Neo talks about Korin, and he's like very interested in the differences of him and Shattuck and himself. And I think he likes being different from Shattuck. I think he doesn't like being like seen as like attached to Shattuck, and like that like kind of like expression. Like I think Neo values expression, and I think that's actually something he'll really like about Zero Suit if he digs into her a little bit. Because anyone who just like picks up a character is just going to be like a good player playing that character for a bit and not particularly distinct. But like the moment like if Neo sunk like any kind of time into her and was serious about it, he'd start innovating things very quickly that like
Yeah, I agree.
approaches that me, you, Mars, and no one else has tried or like felt worked for them. He'd do it pretty quickly.
Yeah, I definitely think the hardest part about like you can express yourself very well with Zero Suit, but there's always like a big problem that is similar for everyone. And like you said, like it's the thought process and like how you solve it that, you know, differs between players. But I do think it's very difficult to like, I don't want to say like win with Zero Suit and like make a new like style work, but she's definitely just more precise.
Yes.
Like, you know, there's her, but then there's like the Sheik kind of precise. So, and they're a little different. But regardless, I'm excited to see it. I think it'll be sick. And do you know if he's coming to Riptide, by the way?
I actually have no idea, but I bet we can check that. Like we can check the entrance, see if he's there. If nothing else, if he's not on the entrance, we should try to talk to him. See what we can do for him. You know.
I always know it's Doorstop / Andrew ZSS when I see a tether cancel jump on a stage with an aerial.
Who did it? Who said it?
Chai.
They're right. Yeah.
They are. No, whenever you see a Zero Suit nair from ledge 50 times in a row, that's Doorstop. Until he could die for it, then it's, you know.
I learn when I die for it.
Yeah.
And sometimes the way I learn is by doing the exact same thing, but in a very slightly different way. I like my reversals. I'll admit it.
Yeah. But I mean, that's another way, like, someone who doesn't value reversals as much as like stage control, that's like an easy way to distinguish, like,
yeah,
you know, instead of trying to hit them, they just flip across the stage.
I'm very good at finding reversals, but I'm also very like, I struggle at like getting punished for them a lot sometimes, right? Like there's certain reversals that like I can see that are like super guaranteed and super high probability success and super reward, and like other Zeros who should take them when they see them, but they won't see them because they don't try like that reversal as much as me. And then I will also see a reversal that's like a less higher likely guarantee of success and go for it anyway and probably die horribly. So there's like, you know, give and takes. And I definitely could use to tone it down, but I think a lot of Zeros could use to tone it up.
I actually, so I'm like very focused on just getting better. So I've been like studying more, and for both like Aegis, but mainly Zero Suit. And I like watched a little bit like while I was editing the last video. You guys should go watch it, by the way, if you want to see some Doorstop v Aegis gameplay. But I was like I wanted to see how like Mars or how Spargo like dealt with Zero Suit as a character. And there was never the interaction where Mars would like drop fair from ledge. Like it just didn't happen. I'm like, if I was standing there, I'd get hit for that. Yeah. I'm like, come on, man. But obviously there's a lot of other like really good information, neutral, advantage state stuff. But it's just so different. Like the fact that you're reacting based on an interaction that like hasn't happened yet, and you could choose so many different things. Like it's just so like non-traditional. Like even fighting against Zero Suit, it's very different. But from what I've heard, like most people love it. Like most really good players love fighting Zero Suit, which is like weird. I don't know. I feel like that's weird.
People like it when they don't have consequences for their actions, which Zero Suit has a hard time creating consequences a lot of the time. And also it's like, even outside of like the fact that like I don't think like being less doomer about it. I think people know when Zero Suit hits you, you just got diffed. Like,
Yep.
they were in your head. Like, yeah, I'll hold that, right? Like, that's like a very common and correct reaction to that. And I think like good players know that if they're losing to a Zero Suit, they probably deserve it. And I think there's a lot of characters in this game that you can lose to and not feel like you deserve it.
Yeah.
And so people value it when there's actually that's what they're up against.
So, moving on from our new top Zero Suit Neo, so we could talk about Riptide just randomly exploding.
Let's go.
Where did that come? Like, Riptide was the first big event back from COVID.
I don't think Midwest has had a major since 2 big houses ago.
Yep.
I think that's the last time the Midwest had a major, like 2022 big house.
Yep. Huge W.
If my math is correct. Which
Wait, is it a P tier? Is it a P tier officially?
I think so. If not, it's like close. I know it is like actually I'm not even talking about a P tier though. Like I think it's like actually an S tier. I don't think Midwest has had an S tier since Big House 2022. Like Riptide, like my first major top 8 was Riptide, and I was like, remember like Taylor was like, damn, this kind of stinks because like I still call it a major top 8 because I felt like the players I beat to get there would have gotten me top 8 at a lot of majors too.
Yeah.
Like I don't think most people go to a not major and beat players like Lima and Chase and Atata and not like get that far at an S tier. But and only losing to Mutates twice. But like it like objectively wasn't a major, and a lot of people like called me on that, and it's like I can't tell them they're wrong because it was actually like a pretty small event like overall. That kind of like stinks.
I think the big thing between us, like growing up, you know, we watched like every month there was a major in Southern California. Those majors are like at like around the same level of stacked. I think there's just so many more top players. Like there's more top players, and there's more of that like still top player, but like, you know, they could beat anyone, but they could also like get 33rd and like nobody would question it. And
a lot of people like I don't see it, but like anyone who reminisces on like the old top players like did it differently or something like that, it's like it's just really not true. I just think like significantly less people were good at Smash than Smash 4. Like you take like anyone in the top 100 and like Smash Ultimate right now, they would have been the best player in the world Smash 4, like at their current skill level. I think people just have objectively gotten better at the game, and that's like that statement like still like holds very, very true. And there just wasn't that many people that were that good or even that proportionally good. And so what made a major in 2016 is just not the same.
Agreed. 100%.
I remember the phenomenon that Civil War was, and Civil War is like in hindsight, like probably like proportional skills, like probably pretty comparable to an event like Riptide right now. And like that would be the first P tier that we had this like within a month, right?
Yeah, like we had heard about like Hikaru, a top Donkey Kong. Like we probably saw him at a couple tournaments like outside of Japan, but players like him, Kome, like there were so many players that did,
T the not Pac-Man, T the Link.
Oh my gosh. Bro's actually goated for that run, by the way.
Insane. Fatality. I think that's like everyone had so much predictions. Like that tournament has so much hype build up. Like it's really again like hard to compare. Like that tournament in hindsight, like there's just nothing like it. I don't think there's anything like it since. And like how much hype build up. Everyone had these kind of like predictions. What would go on? Team canceled or team canceled. Like you know like. And
so much content, and like there was the storyline was the coolest part, and the fact that
neither of them,
Zenodo and Redacted had beef. And no, at the CEO, I guess we could rewind a little more. Do you remember CEO when they fought?
I vividly remember because that was the day I just realized that mid-set coaching is like a horrible idea and should never be allowed ever again.
Oh my gosh, you had 3 of the top 5 players coaching one person.
It was more. Like, I think it was like genuinely half the top 10
That's
was against
awful.
one guy who wasn't even ranked like top 50 before that day.
And he had 2 sets to work with too. It wasn't even like
And
broken, absolutely broken. They literally told him
Yeah.
to go cloud, and that was like the best advice they had.
it was Nairo. Like Nairo, remember, told him to go cloud, and it was like that was the thing that eventually worked after he got 30'd the first set, despite having the Avengers on his side. I'm so mad for Zanotto even to this day. I was mad for him then,
Mhm.
and that like anger has never dissipated.
Yeah, I think like build up to Civil War. The other one, the one who won CEO, made a video. They were like, even on your best day, you're still below me. And then they had to fight in the crew battle, which was like super hype. All right, wait, did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the crew battle was hype, but it was actually probably the like least hype part of the tournament, because when the rosters dropped, everyone thought there was no chance that Team Zero lost.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that it was close was actually like the hype part.
Yeah.
But like the actual like players on the teams was like very one-sided. Like after a certain point, like Team Ally was like very much so scrounging to like fill up players. Like
Yeah.
And like Zero still had like though I think the worst player on his team was like Foe or something, and like Foe was incredible.
Foe was insane at crew battles too.
And Foe's like, I feel like Nest players are really good in crew battles.
Yeah,
I feel like they're like that's just like one of their like things. Like,
they use
you
all
can
their
count a
gimmicks
Nest
on
player.
that like one game.
But yeah, that like event had so much hype to it, and then what actually ended up happening in bracket was on literally nobody's bingo card. There were so many people who tried to predict what happened, and nobody had any of that on their bingo card. And it was like that. I think that's like actually so cool in hindsight that like you could have played that tournament 1,000 different times, and that outcome never happens again. Like that was such a 1 in a billion. What is a Link player doing in our top 3? Why is Fatality in finals? Why did both of the people who this tournament was themed after not even make the final day?
Zero suit.
Because of Latai, La Truth, La Victory. I still remember that EE quote.
That was iconic.
Okay, that was so iconic. And then he never went to anything ever again.
Yep. He played for like 6 months, beat Zero, and then dipped.
In Zero Suit did he too? Like there's so many matchups to make that happen in. Like
yeah.
That's your first upset, like the best player in the world, and like debatably her worst matchup at the time.
Yeah. And then another Zero Suit, not a Zero Suit main, lost to Nico the Shulk. Do you remember that? It was anti. He played Zero Suit.
Oh, I hated him. He's not a Zero Suit player. I hate him. Like I hated his Zero Suit.
Yeah.
Obviously, he has his, the long line of things. I didn't have like particular beef with him at the time, but his Zero Suit was so ugly.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I don't have to look at that anymore.
What was even the original topic? Oh, it was Riptide.
Riptide, how stacked it is. That we finally have a P tier in the Midwest.
Every morning for the last couple days, I wake up and I see a new like top 10 player like confirmed. Like it was Sonics, Mia, Hurt. It's crazy. I'm excited.
It hurts my feelings a bit. Like, damn.
Yeah.
Like these people make it look so easy. Like I'm out here like struggling for like maybe I'll be in the top 150 this time, guys. And like and then these two just like people just jump into the top 10 like this. All right, here's the latest Japanese kid with playing a mid tier that's gonna like shoot up here, right? Like, and it's legit. I got nothing to say about it. They're just that good. It's just like, wow, this is hard to keep up with.
Exactly.
Yeah. Crazy times. Midwest events, I think I've really, really struggled to pull people for a while, which I never really entirely understood why. Like, it's hard for Midwest's top players to all show up to one event because we're so spread out, right? Like, getting all of Tri-State to one event is like 3 hours across on like that's a 3-hour drive, like tops or something like that.
That's
like
their local ones.
Yeah, you add their traffic up or something like that, and maybe it gets like a little bit longer. But like Tri-State players would agree with me on that. Like, the distance is just not there.
Yeah.
Whereas like to get from like one minor city in the Midwest to the other is like 2 hours. 2 hours. For major cities, usually it's 4. And like the Midwest is a very large, broad term as well too. Like I just have nothing in common with the region of Kansas. Like, there's just like I could drive, like I have driven to Kansas and I have driven to Baltimore. Baltimore is quicker. Like, you know, like NDVA is more my region than Kansas is.
Yeah.
Right. Like the Great Lakes, like versus the Heartland Midwest distinction is like really, really important. And yeah, just the fact that we're so spread out like makes it really hard for our events to like organically like congregate somewhere.
Yeah.
But I never understood why Big House and Riptide died, like at least for Ultimate. I think like in Melee they still remain pretty big events. Like why they just kind of like die. Like for one thing, like they're not expensive. Like I think for a lot of events, like traveling to the Midwest isn't tough. I think Sandusky's a little tough because you have to go through the Cleveland airport and then figure out a way to get like an hour west.
Yeah.
Which is like a little difficult. But like the area itself isn't too expensive. The fact that like I personally love all of, like Riptide, Let's Make Moves Miami, or Let's Make Moves, the whatever the Texas Riptide equivalent is. I forget. Low Tide.
Low Tide.
Low Tide. Yeah, like Low Tide. I love water parks. Maybe like not everyone loves water parks as much as me. That's fair, but like I love that that's something that I could do after bracket that I can't do at other Smash majors. And then like just like again, like it's not particularly expensive. Like Big House has always been easy to get to. It's like a pretty like big classic. Big House isn't terribly run. Like SmashCon every year is like infamous for having some horrible problem in how it ran. There's never any setups, right? Like people didn't have these same complaints about Big House and it just still died. At least as far as I know of. Yeah, Big House was supposed to be big last year, but everyone flaked for some reason. Yeah, like it's just been really hard to get like enough outside interest in Midwest events to get enough top players there to actually make our events count for something. And it's been like a cycle, right? Where like the less big events we have, the less big events we go to, the less like rankings we get on. And so the less like big our events, like our player values never go up because we can't actually get a chance to like compete very often in events that are worth a whole lot. I think that's like to a certain extent copium. I think a lot of people take that as like the Midwest is actually as stacked as Tri-State. But we just don't get any opportunities, and Tri-State does. I don't think that's entirely true. I think Tri-State's like a better region or something like that. I don't know. I'm not looking at like the head-to-head in particular. And also, like again, framing the Midwest as if it's like some region like Tri-State, which is like again 3 hours in all directions. Yeah. Whereas like the Midwest, like again, I literally have nothing in common with the region of Kansas or North Dakota or anything like that. Right? Like that's just like not that. That's like as alien of a region to me as anywhere on the Eastern Seaboard. Yeah. So like it's such a wide area to like all lump into one region, and then how stacked it is. Like, yeah, sure, dude. The entire state of California, Oregon, Seattle, Pacific Northwest. Let's go up into Vancouver. Yeah, that region's stacked, dude. Like, you know, like
yeah. It's like really hard because that shows the love of the game, though. I think that is like one of the most important things.
The difference is some of us are willing to drive that, and I'm some of us. Yeah. I have been to Kansas, like for a Midwest event. It was a regional, for a Midwest regional.
I have been. Ethan takes the cake on the love of the game.
Oh yeah, yeah. Any of you guys are familiar with the Traveling Warrior Winter? He's like toned it down a lot in the last like couple of years, but especially immediately after COVID ended, dude famously drove to Arkansas for a local. Arkansas to Cincinnati, Ohio, I think was like somewhere between like 8 and 11 hours. I'm not entirely sure on that. It's Arkansas. I can't name a single player. There's like, I think there's one like good player from Arkansas that I know the name of if it got brought up to me. But like, there's not like that's like, that's not like you're going to a Xanadu or some like big local. Like,
yeah, it was just a local.
He was just that desperate to play offline Super Smash Brothers. And you know, if I was a Crom main and I've been stuck in like Wi-Fi mode without mods for my entire like a year and a half, I get it to a certain extent. And then he didn't stop there. He drove the same distance that I drove to go to that Kansas regionals, the exact same venue. He drove that for a local immediately after COVID ended. That is an 8.5 hour drive to Kansas City.
Like there and back in one day.
Yes. Yeah. Like I think he had an overnight hotel maybe. So I think like he drove up for the local like really early. Like that is just, like he's different. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's
Oh,
that's all I got. That's all I got to say about that. But the thing is he's Midwest. He's Cincinnati. He's another player in the same region as me, right? Like
Mhm.
Midwest players are way more down to drive than I think like any other like not just like part of the country, like part of the world. Like we're down to drive places,
Yeah.
which I think is like part of why we feel a little more comfortable lumping ourselves in. But again, it's still not just like entirely like genuine. I think to say that like Ohio and Kansas or Ohio and like Nebraska are the same region because it's just there's just so much in between.
Yeah, and I think that like this could even be a topic for like another week or whatever. But the connection of states into a bigger bigger region. I think there's a couple areas that are like so hard to put in there. Like I feel like Ohio is already barely Midwest, but the fact that like the border of Pennsylvania and Ohio, like
we're
Pittsburgh,
getting into the Pittsburgh discussion.
yeah, like from me to Pittsburgh, like this whole area, they aren't Philly or like tri-state. I mean, they are tri-state.
Not even close. Not even,
but they're not tri-state.
I didn't have an appreciation for like the Pittsburgh is like definitely part of the like the Midwest side of things until like a Pittsburgh player tells you that they drive to Michigan terms, not Philly, because Detroit is closer than Philly is.
That's
like,
insane.
Like it's not even like like it is easier for them to get to Detroit than it is for them to get to Philadelphia from Pittsburgh.
Like across the entirety of Ohio. Like it's not even like you're just cutting through Ohio. It's like the entirety from east to west, and then up through. I mean, a little bit of Michigan, but I think like Pittsburgh definitely. Like I feel like this whole area, Ohio should just. They need to just rework it all. Like I'm not Midwest. Like I am Midwest. I identify with the Midwest grouping.
I've always liked the Great Lakes distinction. I think like Great Lakes and Heartland because it's way more accurate to what we actually interact with. Like I interact with Michigan people all the time.
Yeah.
Like Indiana all the time. Chicago more often than like anything further west than that.
Yep.
But like also Kendall, the time I was in the Kansas City, I'm trying to remember what the event was called. I remember when it was. It was spring of 2022. It was shortly before I won SOS because there was a streak of regionals where I kept making it to winners quarters and then getting ninth. And it was a really big deal to me when I was playing in SOS that I just wanted to the top 8 super badly. And I know that the Kansas regional was one of the ones that I went to. It was Level Up Arena. That was the one. It was Level Up Arena. I remember I made it to winners quarters and then I lost to AK. And then I lost to a very good Falcon player. He plays Peasy. Peasy, yeah. Who now plays Fox. And I was very like disappointed with that. But it was a good time. That was a good event. Like I had nothing against that. It was a cool time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Level Up Arena was done.
Like if we were to run like a Great Lakes thing, like you were saying, I have on more than one occasion been able to like see and hang out with like Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan, and Pittsburgh. I mean that's
Kentucky is truly in limbo. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Kentucky's actually tough because like they aren't the South, they aren't like the Heartland. They kind of sort of are Great Lakes, but like not really. Kentucky's like actually I think the most limbo state out there. I think Tennessee is also up there, but I think Tennessee's easier to identify with like the South.
What's the grouping for like is it there's tri-state? What is like the whole East Coast? Like North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. They're all big regions.
It all like depend on where you are. Like you don't like do state lines as like the realistic borders for a lot of that stuff. Like the Carolinas, like I know in a lot of like northern North Carolina is more MBVA than they are like the Carolinas.
Yeah.
Or I actually heard I think that a lot of it in like SOVA, like Southern Virginia, is a lot more of the Carolinas than they are MBVA. So like again, I think the real thing is like what regions actually interact with each other is the better determiner of like what regions truly are.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, like North and South Carolina have a decent amount of interaction. North Carolina sometimes interacts with like MDVA more. MDVA is definitely their own region. Like that's just a lot of what they do there.
Yeah.
Philly's like some like hybrid between MDVA and like tri-state, but I think they're probably more tri-state than they are MDVA.
Yeah.
I think like, they cross over a lot.
I think Florida is such a weird state too, where like you have a ton of like sub-regions that are like so strong, but then like to get across Florida, you have to like drive like 6 or 7 hours. Like, and then there's Georgia too. It's right there, which is lit. I think that's like that's a hot spot for sure.
Oh yeah, no, I've always wanted another one of the locals that Ethan drove to was 404. He drove to the first 404 after COVID, which again is another 8 hours. I think he was going to do his Xanadu. I don't think he did. But yeah, he just gotta add to the Legends record.
Yeah.
You live in an area that mixes Heartland Great Lakes. You're Wisconsin, right, Kendall? That sounds right in my head. Like, I always figure that like Milwaukee and like I don't know. Actually, I like don't know that like region super well. Like I know Milwaukee's like pretty close to Chicago. I actually think like Chicago, like Milwaukee are like a lot closer to like the actual places where you can kind of call the Midwest all one place, because I think they do interact with Heartland and Great Lakes a lot. They're like the bridge, the avatars. I don't know, the bridge between the two worlds. But
can we talk about the fall off of California just as a state? No shade. No shade.
Boyd decided to win at literally everything else besides Smash. He got bored. He's like, damn, this Smash it too easy. I gotta go find something else.
Literally, not even just the players, but the fact that 2GG was just done.
Yeah.
Like, that was pretty much it. Like, they still run events and stuff, but they're just like a good region now versus like having 5 of the top 10 players live in the same house.
Yeah. Well, there's also problems with that house back in the day too. So.
True. Let's be thankful.
There's a reason why there was actually 2 major Smash houses, and there's a reason why both of them don't exist anymore, and they are related. So.
Awkward.
Yeah, one of those in Ohio. Yeah.
Didn't start in Ohio, so we don't claim it.
True. Yeah, and they never interacted with us either.
They went to a couple locals at the end of Smash 4.
They just existed to make our PR look really good.
Number
We're
0.
like, guys,
Tweaks
number 0.
Number 1, Cosmos.
Number 2, Darkshed. Organic, born and raised. He's playing again, guys. Like, pretty actively, too.
Let's go.
Yeah. He's been going to more locals lately than I have. So.
Why were Smash Houses a thing? Honestly, bro. Why would they ever be a thing?
Ha ha.
Get it? Because me and Doorstop and Erie.
Hey, we're the only Smash House that is like still going, that hasn't had any major problems like that.
We succeeded at being like regular citizens of the United States.
I mean, is your guys' house even a Smash House anymore? It was like me, you, and Alex, but Alex is like completely done with Smash, and I moved out. So like,
yeah. Well, as of now, if you were still here, it still wouldn't be a Smash House, Mr. VGC. But
yeah,
I don't hate it.
Honestly, not one. Yeah. VGC's gas. Worlds is so sick.
Yo, is that Momsa?
What's going on? Dragon Squad. It's probably Momsa, is my guess. I don't know if Cade hangs out on that account.
I think we chose the Smash House route where we wanted to live like actual human beings. We weren't like fighting for 5 square feet in the corner.
Yeah. Like people were like desperate to get any spots as possible so they can get like destroyed by Tweak Secondary twice a day.
Yeah. I will make the dining room my bedroom. Mom, so what's good? What's good? We're just chatting. We're chatting. So I think how would you change? So, okay. I guess we kind of answered that already, but we'd make it Great Lakes and Heartland. You think that's optimal? Do we take Kentucky, or do we just kind of like?
I think I'm down to claim Kentucky. I think they go to enough of our stuff, and I guess like me using we is very blanket here, right? Because like Columbus has definitely been to like some Kentucky stuff, but like honestly, Neo's been to a good amount of Kentucky stuff too. But like Cincinnati, obviously, like I'm right on the border. Like I cross the river into Kentucky for work every day. And so going to Kentucky events is like as regular to me as Ohio events.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very easy for me to be like, hey guys who lives on the border, that like, yeah, we're just like the same region. I think like this is the one where we got to let Kentucky decide for themselves what they think they are. But
You know, there was a universe where I would be more of a Pennsylvania player than an Ohio player.
Yeah.
If tolls weren't $20 to drive an hour down the road.
That's like the worst part about Neo is there's no toll roads in Cincinnati, dude. I didn't know what toll roads were until I lived there. Like, honestly, the knowledge of it has made me like a darker, sadder person.
Yeah, like to both major cities within an hour, and I have to pay $10 at least just to get there and back, like on top of gas and everything else. Close to being done running the weeklies in Cincy. Next week's your last one. My car just got fixed. Wait, did you freeze? Am I still here? Are you guys still here? Wait, are you okay?
Oh, okay. I think your internet died.
Like, actually?
You died for a bit, and the stream's down.
Okay, I think we're back. Wait, the stream's
Are we
down?
back? Maybe my internet died, and maybe I just lost connection to the stream.
That's alright. We're back.
I'm refreshing. There you go. All right, the chat says they're still there, so... okay, so yeah, I exploded. All right, we're back.
My car got fixed.
Let's go.
And if there's one more...
That was way cheaper than you thought, right?
Yeah, if there's one more weekly, the Momps is running.
The last weekly. There is an AL 200 coming up. And I think it's still within the... I think, Momsa, you said AL 201 would be your last one?
I'll make you a deal. Steven.
Uh-huh.
Buster Out 200. Or wait, is it 100? Comes up this upcoming Tuesday.
I work Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, dude. This is... It's not a... Like, Buster Out, like, 100? Like, if I made it to the finals, like, if I didn't Buster Out, I would, like, be getting home at 4 in the morning and then waking up at, like, 7:30 for work.
Nothing we haven't done, like, ever before, right?
Yeah. Tomorrow is 199.5 since you won't be there to run it. So AL 200 is August 29th. I will be there. I don't know if I'll be there for tomorrow, but I will be there on the 29th.
Right,
I've been very Pokemon pilled lately. It's been hard to get back into Smash. It's like tough because like the longer I get away from it, I don't get more nostalgic for it. And that's like kind of what I was hoping for. But I still been loving talking about it. I've still been loving watching it. But I've been loving Pokemon so much, dude. I love gambling.
Dude, last night, okay. I've been really busy lately. Like there's always something going on. And I don't know, like I get a little stressed out and like it gets hard to sleep. So last night I was having one of those nights and my brain was mixing Pokemon and Smash together. Like I don't know what it was, but I was like tweaking out trying to sleep. It was just Pokemon and Smash happening. Like there's just so many factors in Pokemon, and then I'm like I gotta play Advantage State still, so I can't like lose focus. I don't know what I was on, but
okay, so the Pokemon like woke mind virus is like a very real thing. The Pokemon woke mind virus is like crazy. Once you start like knowing enough about Pokemon to know what all the things that there is to be thinking about, your brain just does not like get it out. Like to this day, I am like thinking about things to beat Pelipper or Chaladon right now. like my brain cannot escape it. It's like, how do I beat this stupid lead, right? Like what's some new tech I can come up with for this? There is just never ending amounts of things to be thinking about and optimizing in Pokemon. It's like it's so like tough to escape from. So that's like, that's something you're gonna have to deal with if you delve further into this. The virus will take over.
I agree with Momsa, by the way. You should stream Pokemon.
I should. You're correct.
Then when, this won't ever leave. Pokemon won't ever leave. But whenever Smash comes back, you do Pokemon, then Smash, or Smash and then Pokemon.
Yeah.
And then we could stream together. And then we just thrive.
Yeah. No, you're like spitting right now. My like life isn't on a super. I've been getting it on a more regular schedule, and I don't know if it has room for streaming yet. But I am creating the empty space where streaming could be available.
Mhm.
I have a little bit of traveling coming up. In that I have back to Youngstown in 2 weeks. I might be going to Lexington this weekend for a Pokemon tournament.
Yes,
Uh,
sir. Yes, sir.
And I'm trying to stay on top of the leaderboard. Right now, I'm currently number 21 in North America in Pokemon for offline championship points events. Horribly inaccurate. I'm definitely like farming easy events at the beginning of the season.
Cap.
But,
Cap. It's true, but Cap. You are that good.
yeah, if they stop the count right now, I'd be invited to next year's Worlds. Like solidly too. So like that's all happening. And then I'm going to Baltimore for Baltimore Regionals, which whenever you hear the term regionals for a Pokemon tournament, that's like a major, like a Smash Majors, because it's going to have like 1,000 people.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a big deal. I'm going to be like prepping for that. But I have Riptide the week before Baltimore, so that's like a whole thing that's also happening on top of all this. So I just got like a lot of things going on, and traveling very consistently ruins my schedules. Like it's really easy for me to stay on something until like I have to go somewhere. And then I'm just like my whole week is like done. My whole week is toast because I'm of all the extraneous effort that Smash is gonna like, or just traveling from point A to point B and being exhausted and like prepping and stuff like puts into it.
Yeah.
How do I even balance it? I don't like. I go to work. I'm really hella burnt out. I be traveling. I be thinking about Pokemon. Generally, I try to give myself weeks. Like if I know I have a Pokemon event on the weekend. Like this is going to be a Pokemon week, or if I have a Smash event on the weekend, it's going to be a Smash week, and then I just like balance the rest of my life around that. But I've been definitely wishing for less so that I could like balance it, like actually figure out a way to like balance it a lot better. I would love to like one day be at a point where I'm like streaming Monday, Wednesday, and Friday or something like that, and Monday is like whatever stream I talk about whatever happened the last weekend, and Wednesday is a Smash stream where I play in Coinbox, and Friday is a Pokemon stream or something like that, right? And like I'm actually able to like balance that well. But that is not where I am at the moment, if I'm just like being entirely honest with myself.
Momsa, I think the one in Hawaii was last weekend, unless there's something else coming up for Pokemon.
Yeah, so Hawaii was this last weekend. That's where the Pokemon World Championships was. I did not qualify for that because I only went to one event all season, which was my Indianapolis Regionals. I do remember you telling me about Candle. Candle, you qualified for Worlds, right?
Wait, really?
Yeah. Candle was a TCG player before he was a Smash player. And I remember him telling me about it, actually. I think it was at Cost. Yeah, he's got 2 Worlds, and he's had 2 Worlds invites for TCG. We should get him talking to Alex. Alex is currently playing a lot of TCG right now. He's the other roommate in Andrew's house.
Dang.
Yeah. And you got invited in like tough years too, from what I understand. Yeah, so he's nice with it. Some of that. Oh yeah, that actually makes so much sense now. Yeah, and yeah, Kendall, I don't know as much about TCG, but like I know enough to play it. Like Alex was explaining the meta to me, so I was watching like World's Top 8. And like I definitely know enough about TCG that I was able to like watch it and understand what's going on. Like if you handed me a deck, I would be able to read the cards and play it in like a way that makes sense. I wouldn't be good, but I'd be able to play it in a way that makes sense.
I don't understand.
Alex is trying to get me back in. Yeah, I'm trying to be a Raging Bolt deck main. I don't know if that's cringe or not, but Raging Bolt's my goat, and it looks like the old Rayquaza engine decks from like 2014 that I understood.
I'm trying to start playing Pokemon Go competitively and run my Charge-a-Bug set.
Dude, I love Pokemon Go. Why is Charge-a-Bug the number 2 Pokemon in usage?
Wait, who's number 1?
Lickitung. At least according to the graphic that I saw. Like, it's always the most random shit.
Unbelievable. That game.
Yeah.
It could have been so cool.
Yeah. TCG's also like in comparison to other card games, Pokemon TCG is very inexpensive. From what I understand, you can make the world's winning deck for $50. which I don't know if that's necessarily the cheapest deck in like that's probably one of the cheaper decks in the format because from what I understand, there's only 4 Pokemons in it, and the rest is trainer cards, and trainer cards tend to be a lot easier to get. But yeah, that's like for like so it's probably like not all decks are that cheap, but from what I understand, the world's winning deck was a $50 deck, which like add a 0 to that, and maybe you're in like Yu-Gi-Oh territory, and we're not even talking about Magic. Like, you know, the cheapest deck costs like 25. Yeah, we all went on a ton of tangents. The whole Great Lakes Heartland thing that was not on the schedule at all.
Nope.
Worlds, I did intend to like briefly touch on Worlds, but because it was something that like that's why I was hanging out. We were all watching Worlds together, which is a lot of fun.
I learned a lot about
yeah.
Pokemon.
Dude, my voice is still sore from how much talking, explaining I did about Pokemon because I'm so excited to talk about that game.
I'm not gonna lie, we sat down to do the podcast, and then I asked the Pokemon question, and then it led to this whole discussion, and then we both were like, "This is not happening."
Yeah, no, we were going to sit down to do the podcast Monday together, like while I was still at the house, and I was like, he asked a Pokemon question 2 hours later, and I'm like, wait a minute. If I leave now, I'm getting home at 2 a.m. And that's exactly what happened. So I was like,
we did say we were going to talk about Pokemon Worlds. That was on the list. So
it was on the
list.
That's
cool. And
the whole Great Lakes Heartland thing was a whole side tangent, but it was a good one. It's relevant.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I feel like if we want to talk about Rewired, we can. And then we also had the ZSS Hive Mind.
Oh, true. We'll end on the Hive Mind.
We got some beef to start.
we're in the mood to instigate. But yeah, Rewired. I'll be honest, I didn't catch a lot of the tournament. I was focused on Pokemon Worlds.
Yeah, how about 2 California Worlds?
Yeah, actually, that's also they announced Worlds, which by the way, for anyone who's not familiar with this, they announce Worlds every year, usually at the end of the next Worlds. I don't think they've ever announced 2 Worlds in a row where they will be location-wise. And they also announced the dates. They never give us the dates until like it's like significantly more expensive to book the trip. And that's extremely frustrating. The fact that they gave us 2 Worlds locations and the dates a year and 2 years in advance is like actually so incredible for players trying to like plan trips. So yeah, that's a whole extra detail of Worlds. We lost Andrew. I don't know where he went. But Candle also randomly, I have I don't know if you're how you know like TCG people, but I have 3 Twilight Masquerade boxes that I won from a Pokemon tournament that I'm never going to use because I'm not going to be like playing any TCG, like seriously. But if that's like a good deck that people want to like good like box set to buy, I can sell those for like whatever it is on Amazon right now. Like I think like it was like $35 or something on Amazon at the moment. I'm totally down to just like sell that to anybody you know. Looking for it. Yeah, I won 4 boxes. I sold one of them to Andrew's roommate. Newest set. That's what I got the impression of. It's pretty sought after. Yeah, I got the impression that it's like a pretty sought after like thing, and it's just something I won like one of the tournaments in July. Are the ETVs? I can show you one. I'll pull one up. Hold on, just a second. I'm showing Candle one of the deck boxes I won.
I got you. Yeah, Mom. So definitely 2 best Zero Suits right here. No doubt. I have a few more videos coming out too from like the streams and stuff for the other day. I think the Cruel Smash one is fire. It's gonna be fire. We got our classic mode run. Can you hear me right now? Okay, I don't think you can hear me. But I think it's best for my wallet and for my mental health to not get into TCG. So when they were talking about that, when Steven was over, I just dipped. I'm like, nah. I'm on that VGC grind now.
All right. This is what we got, Candle. This is looks like it's ETB. It's an Elite Trainer box. It says it right here. I got 3 of those. Yeah, I had 4. I sold 1. I also get a lot of card packs from just like competing. They give them out like candy. And it's unfortunate for VG players because we just have nothing to do with that. Like I play on a Switch, dude. I don't. What am I gonna do with? I don't know what I'm gonna do with Pokemon cards. But am I going to Riptide? I am going to Riptide. I am totally down to just like sell it to you for whatever they're going for by the time we're at Riptide.
Wait, so
I'll pass them.
Are those hard to get, or are they just like expensive?
I think both.
Okay.
Like I think it's the newest set, and it's like the biggest one that you can. I think it's like the biggest way you can buy them. I think. Like their packs are pretty valuable. There's a whole like Pokemon card economy that I like sort of understand. Like certain packs like are worth more than other packs based off of like the percentage of quality cards in them. Like if you go on eBay and bought every card individually, and like the totals from one set of like how much it adds up to are different from the totals of another set because there's just different values. Like and especially because I think like the newest sets tend to have like better cards because Pokemon card game is insanely power crept.
Yo, Afro, it was funny seeing those dudes just sitting on their phones and they're actually at Worlds, like playing each other.
Yeah. Dude, I like. Are they doing like the mashing thing too, where they're doing like the quick attacks? Or like this is like whenever I played like the battle system in Go, that's always how it looked at me. It's just like mashing.
Pokemon Go. I'll admit, when that game came out, I thought that was like so cool. Like I think everybody had a phase where we're all like, you know, up to like the first couple like raids, it was just hype. Like it
was another time in our lives that'll just never be repeated.
Yep. Like everybody was at the park, everyone's like, yo, a Dragonair spawned over there, go look. And everybody's sprinting like the same square foot.
Yeah. Dude, like 2016 was a wild year. Just in hindsight.
Oh my gosh.
Like there's like 2016 just like will never happen again. We already talked about like how Civil War was such a like neat phenomenon. That's a 2016 moment. 2016 moment.
I'm not huge on like sports like very much, but the Cavs winning the finals in like the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead, which is awesome. I like that was just a great time.
Yeah, Youngstown's very close to Cleveland, so you know he's got to be a Cleveland guy.
Yeah,
for this.
that was so lit. My brother went for like the parade. Apparently they were like tipping cars on their sides and all that BS. Like no one does it like Cleveland. I fear for the day that the Browns win a Super Bowl, if it ever comes.
Dude, I still remember the Bengals being in the Super Bowl. Like, I cannot describe to you people, like, the feeling, like, imagine growing up somewhere where your sports team is, like, not even, like, just synonymous with failure. Like, our school textbooks, like, don't have the word failure in it. They have the Bengals. You know, like, that's what they got there. And, like, I grew up my entire life, like something like the Bengals or something like that. It's just like always a negative, like oh that's gotta be terrible then, right? Like
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like that's just like imagine one day the word you've been using for up your entire life is actually means down now, right? Like that's that was the day that like the entire city just had no idea how to act. Like we couldn't like it wasn't even like we were like celebrating. We just couldn't process the information because it made zero sense to us. Like what is happening right now?
It's crazy.
Joe Burrow. Dude, Joe Burrow is my GOAT, and I only watch like one football game every year in the Super Bowl.
So I am doing a fantasy football league with all my friends who are football fans, and the loser has to run a half marathon.
Half marathon?
Yeah. So am I cooked? Nah. I don't know. I have a pretty solid
13
team.
miles is so long, dude. I actually like didn't have an appreciation for what like a marathon really is until I like happened to be driving somewhere that is an hour away and it's 26 miles. And I was like,
yup.
What?
People
I mean, obviously like it's not like a direct path, but like huh?
I have wait, Candle, do you know football players? Oh, I have Joe Burrow.
Let's go. Goat. I don't know anyone else on our team.
Christian McCaffrey. The 49ers. Running back.
All I know is that the Chiefs aren't my goat. They or is it the Chiefs? No, hold on. I might be getting them wrong.
Yeah, the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, okay, never mind. It is the Chiefs. Yeah, they're my ops. We don't like the Chiefs. I think they knocked us out both years that we were like in the Super Bowl and in top 4.
Yeah,
so
and there's just the whole like Taylor Swift thing, and then Patrick Mahomes. Like that was like the two biggest like.
Dude, it's so. I remember everyone talking about it, like it's so unfair that like a whole bunch of Swifties like get to watch the Super Bowl for the first time and see their team win. Like
yeah,
they don't know what everyone else who's they don't get to know what everyone else who's watched football has suffered.
They don't
As
get it.
someone who hasn't watched football.
I grew up losing my whole life. We've made the playoffs like once in my entire life, and we lost. But
this is also so off script. This is so funny.
Hey, we got a
we
player,
were never on script.
We got a player on the cover of Madden 2012. So that's probably the biggest W the Browns have had in my entire life.
I was really big into the Indianapolis Colts because the only like football game I ever played was on the Xbox. This game called NFL Fever 2002, and Peyton Manning was on the front cover. And there was this one play that I could always run that was like this passing play that always got me a touchdown versus the CPU. And I was like,
yeah,
Peyton Manning's the greatest player of all time. I love this guy.
Oh my god!
And so I was a Colts fan for a while, but like I was never actually seriously watching. So it's like Patriots. Yeah, oh, gotcha.
The deflated football.
I remember Flakegate. I remember what it was about. Like, yeah. But like, I never followed football like any kind of like super seriously. I can tell you what's happening. Like, I know what like the rules are.
Yeah, football is definitely out of our jurisdiction on this podcast, but it's definitely worth noting that we both don't know that much. And
we both grew up suffering. That's what like just by being Ohio sports teams individuals.
Yeah, I guess with the half marathon, we can transition. Did you see Hungrybox's announcement for his next
oh yeah,
detox? Healthy box.
He's like betting his Evo winnings on getting in shape, losing 40 pounds. Honestly, like good for him. I'm always a big fan of anyone who's like taking that kind of like journey for himself. There's a lot of dedication that goes into that because like being fit and like isn't just about like going to the gym a bunch. It's about like mastering your mind and being on a routine. And I struggle with that. Like I've been trying to like go to the gym and I've been really inconsistent for a while. And where I struggle is the routine. Like the ability to just like, this is my time of day where I wake up and I do this thing every single time. And I'm not going to sleep in and I'm not going to lose all the time that I have set aside to do this thing because this is the thing I need to do to achieve my goals in life. And like, that's like, there's so much like personal mastery that goes on. And like, I think the gym is like always like a core part of like being, I don't know anyone who can do a routine like that who doesn't have some kind of workout. Like, I think like doing like that is like like part of like mastering like yourself. And I can't do, like, I've struggled to do it so much, like more than probably anything I've struggled to do my entire life. So again, tons of respect to that. If he's able to do that, good for him. I think giving yourself I would love to be at the point in my life where I could bet $10,000 to, you know, do that for myself, but
yeah, like it's like a benefit. I mean, I guess you'd be losing 10K, you wouldn't be making anything, but you know, it's for a good reason, like objectively a good thing for yourself. And so of the gym rats that I've talked to, every time I ask them like anything about going to the gym and like, you know, what do you do at the gym, like what are your splits and stuff, they always just say like, to be consistent, you just have to go. Like, even if you're not doing that much, getting there is the hardest part of it all. Because once you're there, you're like, might as well do it.
Yeah, like you, like once like walking in, like getting out of your car and walking into the doors is genuinely so difficult. I've like sat in the parking lot for like half an hour at some point. So this is like, I just really don't want to do this. And like, that's been like really, really hard or something like that, right? Like, but yeah, just being consistent and being regular. Super respect. I'm sure like a guy like HBox, like I don't know, he's just doing a lot of things in general. Like he's a busy man, so
Yeah.
I feel like some degree he has like some degree of routine in his life in order to make that work already. But yeah, that's mad respect.
Yeah.
I hope it works out for him.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, like Momsa was saying, Mango has also been on that health journey, and I didn't even like see him at Supernova, so like I didn't notice until I saw like
The
there's
pictures.
a YouTube video. Yeah, there's the pictures, and then I had something else. I think we gotta make sure we're looking good, so when Zero Suit's popping off, we just got the best looking player base.
Oh yeah,
Period.
dude. I won't lie. You're kind of already part of that. It's not the Zero Suits, it's the Nesses. I don't get it, dude. What's with Ness mains?
I don't know. I don't know, bro.
I feel like there is
Let's
like a low point on Ness. Like I think there's like variants. Like I think there's like also like the super nerdy high school kids that are like not there. But then you got like some bangers. Send yourself. There's that one guy in Texas, I think.
Rusty.
Jeff. Honestly, like there's like an overall very scoring very solidly high. I think.
Yep.
Like it's kind of messed up. What's Gacked? Like
Gaff. Bro's jawline.
Dude's the only dude who can make like smoking a cigarette look cool. Like
Yeah.
in 2024.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Gaff is sick though. He's so
I
cool.
definitely I have to give it to Ness mains. It's not something I'm happy to admit, but like y'all got it, dude. I don't know what's going on.
Well, at the very least, we gotta be repping our character. We gotta do it well.
yeah. We can catch up. We can raise the average for
Mhm.
sure.
Agreed. I had a thought, and it's like really bothering me that I can't remember it. Hungrybox's health journey, Mango. I don't know, but I might as well start training for the half marathon now, and like, just in case. I think it'd be.
Are you
good
gonna be
for my
watching any
health.
of those games, or are you just gonna like believe whatever they tell you happened?
No, if I have a reason to watch a game, I don't gamble ever. But one time I gave my one friend Brian $20. I'm like, I trust you,
Yeah.
because he's I mean, he's not a regular gambler, but he definitely has more experience. than
I don't gamble. I just hand my money to professional gamblers.
So
Like,
that one night, he's like, dude, I know for a fact this team's gonna win, and it was way closer than it should have been, and I ended up making like $30 or something, and I just never did it again. That was my one-off. I was also slightly under the influence.
slightly. Oh yeah. Yeah,
At the time. At the time.
Yeah.
And like, yeah. So.
No, I only gamble if I know I'm going to win. That's like, if I like know something, like I just know for a fact, like I like when I do side bets in Smash, like there's certain people who run into each other. I've never lost a side bet in Smash, and that's because I also take side bets where like the chances of winning are like 10-1.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure. I'll bet 10-1 odds that like Spargo like absolutely obliterates this poor Yoshi player. Like, and yeah, if I'm like really sure about that, that's like the terms at which I'll side bet. But I don't take any side bets that I think I have even a shot of losing.
Like, surprisingly, I think we got through most of our topics, by the way. Like, I know we could talk for the rest of the night, but I think
down.
aside from the hive mind thing, I think we got through most of it.
Do you want to talk about the hive mind? Brief mention.
Let me pull it up.
I don't even remember who said it. I'll be real. I just remember, yeah, sure, we'll talk about this. Trust the Yoshi got it. The bro's gonna try to nair out a shield against Cloud back air. It's gonna fail, and his whole brain's gonna like collapse. It's gonna like cave in on itself. That's how I know.
There is no bigger hive mind than ZSS players.
Oh, was this a tweet? I thought it was a clip.
It's just
Any
them.
coin box ones or?
They just literally.
Oh yeah, okay, it was this guy.
What characters does this person play? Link.
I know for a fact, like, he be saying that, like, about us, like, zeroing off the platform at the start of the game. Which, by the way, if he was an educated person on the matters of Zero Suit, he would know that there's an entire metagame for this. For example, in Zero Suit Ditto, there is the thing that we call the Zare Joust, which is when you start on the platforms of PS2, you both immediately run off and Zare as quickly as possible. However, sometimes this is an unspoken agreement that we both decide to do this. Mars will always accept the Zare Joust. I know that, or at least he claims to. But I know he talks about it a lot. Another thing, but if you want to be grimy, and I may have done this if you watch like I think of my set versus Sharp or Shu, or maybe both. I always start the first game against them by short hopping off the platform and zaring, so that their Zare goes under me, and my Zare hits them or their shield as they land. And so I'm always on top in the Zare Joust because I play that. But you can also just do the run off the platform on the other side. You can like just hop over them and immediately go for like some really aggressive landing area onto the shield. The Zare Joust, there's a whole metagame to it that I just think he's like missing out on. And I know he's making this claim while every single Link player, the moment their shield gets hit, they turn into the picture of 1,000 robots. Like every single time.
Yeah.
We all know what they are. They don't get to say that about the disrespect the Zare Joust. Meanwhile, they're quite literally bouncing on it and it being the X and A button at the same time. Like, you know? All right. That's all I gotta say on the matter.
If you are these Zero Suit players on Elite Smash, play a different character.
Also, yeah, Zero Suits on Elite Smash do not represent us, so we're not affiliated with that. Especially, it's the first name ones. Never trust the first name Zero Suits. If you run into John the Zero Suit, run right now. Like, don't play around with that guy. Yep. That's gonna be the worst like online experience of your entire life. But yeah, no, they don't represent us.
Even regardless of that, you know what? I'll just make one of Link. Drop through boomerang.
Oh yeah, no, they got to do the runoff B reverse. They have to. Yeah,
the wave bounce side B, of course. Why did I not realize that?
They don't even wave bounce it. They just do the runoff B reverse because that's all they know how to do. Like that's actually too much for them. The wave bounce is
a little too technical. It's so funny.
That's for the top Link players.
Yeah, yeah, of course. No, it's so funny when you fight a Link on Elite Smash because like they'll be the most like bot Link, like just the average Elite Smash Link, and then they'll just randomly footstool Z drop bomb, land back air 1 up B. I like
so like I go and check their switch hours after that, and when I see 4 digits, I know exactly where they spent them all. It was not in the VODs.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's so real. But I'm glad we at least got that out because Zero Suit players, we got to do better. Even on Elite Smash, you're representing us.
John, Jared, Jeffrey, I don't know why I'm going through all the days. Like,
come on,
Greg is a horrible offender. I know about Greg. Like, the first name Zero Suits on Elite Smash are like on like they're like one of the most evil forms of anything in this game, and there's a lot of evil in this game.
Wait, that's low key me though. That's me.
Andrew, we gotta talk.
On Elite Smash, I sometimes back throw flip kick. No, I'm kidding. I only did it once. No, the other day I did back
finding
throw
out
flip
your
kick.
goat his back throw flip kick.
There was a good
What's
reason
worse
though, because when I went for it, I'm like, oh, it was on a platform. It was back throw flip kick on a platform.
Okay, so you have like slightly better chances of recovery.
Yeah.
If they have like okay.
Well, like it was supposed to kill. It wasn't at like 30% when everyone else does it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't really forgive that at any percent. You're allowed to flip back throw. You're allowed to flip jump. You're not allowed to kick. That's the moment you do the kick.
Well, have you ever done that? Like tech chase on a platform?
Like so you back throw them to the platform and then you
grimy,
go for
because the camera.
Because you're going for the mistech. That's completely different.
The camera doesn't catch up, so they don't even know when they have to tech.
Oh yeah, I do that in a heartbeat. Like
Mhm.
that's fine. And the difference is like if you're going for the spike one off stage where you die if you miss and you miss if they have any brain cells whatsoever,
Mm,
that's the one I don't respect. That's
yeah.
different. My goat has not back throw flip kick. Kendall, I can verify this with 100% truth. You will not even find me attempting back throw flip kick. You will not attempt find it. You could go back all the way into Smash 4 and you will not see that shit. Actually, in Smash 4, you might not. You might see that shit because I think at some points it was true, and I would go for it if it was a true combo. I don't remember though, but you will not find that shit in Smash Ultimate. The odds of hitting are like 10-1, and they don't have any brain cells. I just don't do it. No,
Actually,
like
there is one moment that you are like allowed to go for back throw flip kick, and it's like round 1 pools when they have never held a controller before, and they DI in on everything. That is the only time. But even then, we still judge you.
I hate that like Mars does this to top players like multiple times. Like there's multiple top players that have get hit with it. I know for a fact if I played Mars, I'd probably be a victim somehow. Like everything that goes through my head whenever I play against the Zero Suit is if they back throw me, I am just thinking about I will not get flip kicked. They can kill me in any other way. That's just not going to be the way I'm going to go out. Because like every time I see that happen, I like think like my opinion of both players goes down a lot.
Mhm.
Like in different ways. Like I think less of you as a person if you go for that, and I think less of you as like a player if you get hit by it. You know, like we're getting too.
Well, if they DI in on the back throw, then you could just back air it.
Yeah, no, there's like you could back air it without risking your entire life to go for it, and then also you can like the threat, like you could back throw a flip jump and just see if they panic and give you something dumb anyway. Like if they gave you something dumb enough to get flip kicked, then you probably get something dumb to hit them in a significantly like safer way, right? Like yeah, 10,000 aura for the exactly. They're like minus 10,000 aura, irrecoverable. You're going into aura debt, like, and you're gonna be making interest payments, like.
If you're gonna play Zero Suit on Elite, you gotta be cool.
Yeah,
you gotta go for stuff.
You gotta stop being these people who are like circle camping the entire game and then losing anyway. Like if you're gonna do that, at least win. You know, like it better be a winning strategy. But yeah, those y'all are giving us a bad name.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone, there's so many people I've played. Like, dude, I've like never played a Zero Suit that actually fought me, and it's like I know this guy's a Wi-Fi warrior. I know the Zero Suits he's seen.
Speaking of,
they are us.
I have to say a little something about Elite Smash. So like, there's like grind server practice. There's like Wi-Fi tournaments. You could even hit someone up to play. But last night I was doing a little like VOD review stuff, and I saw something. I wrote something down that I wanted to try, and I wanted to practice a little bit, like an interaction. I wanted to replicate it and get better at it. But as soon as I got on Elite Smash, my ego just like took over. Like I lost the game, and I'm like, all right, this guy thinks he's sweet right now, and it's just so hard. Like it's different.
Seeing points go down, like is like my 9/11.
Then I remember
it's like 15 9/11s every time.
Honestly, like not only is there like the risk of someone. I mean, it doesn't matter if someone tweets about you because nobody actually cares about that. But
yeah,
you remember all the people who are actually good at the game that are like, oh, look at my GSP, I'm higher than you. And I'm like, there's just something that I just can't let him win.
Is Odin is better than me, darn it. It's not just his GSP. It worked.
This fake online number is defining how I'm feeling. And it's just wrong. So
I agree. Anything that happens between you and your bedroom at 2 a.m. when you're talking about the players you're running into in Elite Smash stays there. That cannot be used against you in a court of law. All right.
Well, that's why Ned's Twitch or his streams are just so funny. Like he says what we won't say on a public platform.
Everyone be flaming him. But everyone's saying infinitely worse things when they're doing that exact same thing, not on a camera. Like,
no, I have my Twitch in my Elite like name, and last night I just could not resist. I was teabagging the Sora. I did not care. Like,
oh yeah,
he beat me. I'm like, all right,
I love killing people off the top on the last stock so they can see it.
Yes.
Like,
no. So, okay, not to be that guy talking about the elite game, but he like took my second to last stock. He's at like 80, 90%, and I'm playing Pyra.
Yeah.
He's shielding in the corner. I just stand there. I'm like, he rolled last time, and I destroyed him for it. And then he just dropped shield as I up smash, and I just like, it felt good, bro. It just felt too good to teabag after that.
Dude, so I'm the exact same way with like teabagging and like gambling and also just like talking shit in general. Not entirely on talking shit, but like I only talk shit when I have some shit to say, right?
Mhm.
Like when I talk shit, we get tweets like broken. Everybody remembers the broken tweet, but like there's a lot of things before that. A lot of people don't remember when I managed to get 1,000 people to like a tweet about the state of Kentucky. Like, you know, like that's a and this is before Kentucky had anyone like had wilds, you know, like
Yeah.
that's like like
Wait, what was that
like,
tweet?
it was something about how we like farm like Kentucky more regularly than corn, and they wanted a crew battle with us or something like that. I remember like the gist of it. They were talking. They were like, we should start beef with the state, and like started talking shit about Ohio, and I shut that shit down single handedly. And yeah, like so when I talk shit, like it's because I have like some shit to say. When I gamble, it's because I know I'm going to win. And when I teabag on Elite Smash, it's because they're dying off the top, and I'm going to be one and dunning and leaving immediately.
They did nothing wrong. They literally just lost. That's what they did wrong.
They played in a way that brought that out of me. That's what they did. All right, like I have no rematch. I'm turning off my Switch for like a good 10 minutes so I don't run into him afterwards too. Like I'm taking a break.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly it. I'm not giving him no chance to give me a response. Right?
I don't know what it is. Like Elite Smash just really brings out the worst in Smash Ultimate players.
All of us. The new top ZSS. I bet that's a banger set. That you linked, Aizen. You gotta block the person after you kill them. Just yeah, exactly. They gotta live with it. They gotta know the entire time that I have their smash tag somewhere. Some guy who teabagged them. All right, like it's also usually like people I like definitely grime too. Like I was losing the entire time and I landed them at 30%.
Yeah.
But they were griming me with their playstyle, like unironically, so I don't feel bad about it.
Exactly.
Like they had to have deserved it, but it's just a coincidence that every other person on Elite Smash deserves it.
So there's this feeling I used to get when I'd play like Smash 4 where like they would just like if they're winning, if they're up a stock or whatever, they'll just like play neutral. They don't want to like press their advantage. And it's so demoralizing playing Ness, knowing they're just gonna wall me out with Cloud like back air and forward air. Like there's nothing I could like. I have to earn that, and I was like, I just wanted to kill him. Like I'm always trying to fish. So I did that to the Sora last night. I was up 2 stocks. I hit like a Pyra down there at 40, whatever.
Yeah.
And you know he takes my first stock. I just run to the other side of the stage, and I could just. I saw this person's look through Sora's eyes. Just pure pain and suffering. And I'm zooming with Mithra like, you are not touching me.
They deserve it. They always deserve it. That's first game of the stream down VGC bootcamp. That's awesome, dude.
That is lit.
You have a VOD out there. You had a VOD on your first like tournament.
Mm-hmm.
You know how long it took me to get a VOD?
Same.
Nobody streamed in
Times
Cincinnati,
were different,
Ohio.
bro. Times were different.
Yeah, you gotta take what you can get on those. You gotta appreciate that.
That was the Stone Age back then.
I think Cloud Zero Suit has the best matchup spread. Do you agree with that? I don't. But I'm curious if you do.
No. Okay, it's good. Everything's winnable. But at that point, just main Zero Suit.
I think it's a good spread for a character that's an easy secondary. I think Zero Suit has better spreads on characters that are significantly harder secondaries.
Game & Watch?
I think Game & Watch is probably a really good one. I think Game & Watch, I also think Wolf is like good on that axis of like, I think Wolf covers Zero Suit matchups almost perfectly. But and also isn't like too difficult to play, like for being real. And I think like Snake is actually a really good one, but Snake's a really hard character to have as a secondary, and when your main is Zero Suit, like that's just a lot to be doing. I've definitely thought about investing serious time into Snake for a while.
Wait,
But
didn't you play him for a little bit? Like when you were here?
yeah, I mean, I have like a pocket Snake. It's not very good, but like I can do some of the things. He's fun. Like he looks like he'd be so much fun to be good with.
Should we let people think that Zero Suit absolutely bodies Game & Watch?
Like, I think it was true before she got nerfed. I think it's actually one of the most impacted matchups by the nerf. I think before the nerf, it was like genuinely like almost impossible to lose. But I think post nerf, it is still winning, but very losable. I think like we win, it's just not like by an insane amount. ZSS, like, nah. Diddy Kong, Pyramithra, they're all gonna be problems.
I think Aegis, ZSS.
Yeah,
like,
but I think Zero Suit's like a little bit harder on the secondary. Like Aegis is a little harder on the secondary scale than a lot of the alternatives.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess like there are harder characters, like Pokemon Trainer.
Yeah. You're staring at me like you're joking, but
No, I'm dead serious.
Pokemon Trainer is an incredibly difficult secondary, and I like curse myself every day for committing to it.
Yeah, I think you're weird for that, but I can't say anything because it got you the Limo win. Wait, why didn't you go PT against Chase?
Against Chase? I like Zero Suit. So Chase actually asked me that after he saw what I did to Lima. Like Chase came up to me after that set and was like, dude, if you went PT, you would have 3-0'd me. It's like, and I don't love PT Palu. I know Palus hate it. I think it's one of those matchups where I'm impossible to hit until I get hit and then I die. Like, Palu will never let Squirtle ever leave the ground ever again. And I don't like matchups where I'm the fragile one. I like being the one who can threaten to kill them at any given point. And I think PT just beats Palu by like being perfect and neutral over and over again, which is like doable, but like just stressful.
Yeah.
And yeah, Palus do hate every matchup. And also, I like genuinely love Palu Zero Suit. I think Palu Zero Suit is one of my favorite matchups.
It is a really fun one.
I think it's like the most even matchup in the game, and I'm like always so down to play it. I feel like I'm pretty good at it. And yeah, PT just like scares me a lot more. It adds a lot more volatility into it.
And you don't gamble if you think you can lose.
Yeah, I don't game if I think I can lose. I much rather I like feeling like I'm in control of my outcomes a lot more. And I don't feel that way when I play PT Palu. I feel like if they just call me out on one dash attack on Squirtle, I'm never touching the ground again. Like,
so, can I actually get your opinion? So like obviously Aegis are generally like more upkeep necessary to play them. What is your thought on where I'm at, like with both of them? Like honest opinion. Don't hold back.
I think you're still at the point where I think versus players you are better than, you can actually beat them more easily with Pyra and Mithra. But versus players that are on your level or better than you, I think Zero Suit is still your best pick, almost regardless of matchup.
That is super solid.
That is my opinion of where you are on it. And I think that's very true of like just the characters in general. Well, I think like it would be true in reverse too. I think Zero Suit, because you've like put in that level versus like top level, put in that time versus like top level, you understand how to like win with her versus players of that caliber. But I think Pyra Mithra is a character that is very easy to noob stomp with. If you are a certain level of player that's just not going to give them free stuff, which you're very much so that level of player. But I think like once you start dealing with people that actually know how to hit a Pyra Mithra without her giving away something for free, the fragility of the character catches up to you very much so.
Yeah, like very quickly. You are that.
Yeah,
I've never been able to like figure out what it is, but that makes so much sense.
And that is my observations. It's not necessarily fact.
Yeah, I definitely think against like certain skill levels of players, there's like the adaptation battle where it's like small interactions. You could, whatever. Then you get like to the end game where like you're playing neutral to find that last hit, And as Zero Suit, like I know how to move, and I know generally what risks not to take, and like what reads are good to go for. I guess like if I'm taking risks, like the least amount of risk with reward, like the stock reward. But with Aegis, I feel like I get to a point where I just don't know what to do. Like
I think versus that level of player, I think everything feels high risk.
Mhm.
Probably is like part of what's to it. Like I have no doubt, like when you are in a last hit situation versus someone good, as Aegis, you are so much more stressed than you probably are in Zero Suit. Because like Zero Suit has a very limited set of hits that kill her at 0%. Versus most characters, like she's light, but like there's like specific things that they have to hit. Whereas like Mithra, like I can like feel it when like we play Pokemon Trainer, like against me. Like you're just like way more confident in last hit on Zero Suit than you are on like Mithra.
Yeah.
Because you just know that quite literally, if I hit you with anything on Squirtle, it could be your life.
Yeah.
And
it feels like that the entire game, by the way. As Aegis.
I am very, very proud of how efficiently I kill that character as Pokemon Trainer. I put a lot of time into doing that. I'm sorry, Jin.
After all these years of watching Smash, it still boggles my mind why players feel like they have to constantly approach like people. There's this thing called neutral in the game.
Approaching is part of neutral, but also retreating.
Nah. It's they think they have some privilege until they fight someone who knows how to deal with it. Unless you're a Kazuya main. Then they never have to stop.
The privilege is just there.
Yeah.
That is built in. It's a feature.
Literally.
But
I agree though. So my first mentality of like when I first started like doing decent at tournaments, my whole mentality was like, do I approach or do I not approach and let them approach? That was like level 1 understanding where like it worked because all I did was shield grab with Nest, down throw fair, and then
Momsy, you can answer this entirely honestly, and I'm not gonna like be hurt on what your opinion is. Do you think I play neutral? Do people approach in Cincinnati? Everybody, like, if I were to break up the regions of Smash, I think Columbus is like the most like mixed in playstyle. I think Neo's a bunch of campers, and I think Cincinnati is a bunch of mashers. Cincinnati players are 100% holding forward. We all cannot help ourselves.
They all think like you guys all think so fast.
Yeah, we like to put people in situations and make them like chance time. You don't know the right answer, dead. Like it's like I do that, Kate does that. Honestly, like Dingus does that to a certain extent. Dingus is a little like odder about it, but once you like understand how things, it makes sense.
When Tommy was down there, he was the different one, and that's why I did so well against him.
Yeah, I do actually play neutral, but like I'm an example of someone who plays neutral and also approaches, right? Like neutral, a lot of people have this idea that neutral is like exclusively just like running away and camping. That's camping. That's not neutral. Neutral is an ebb and flow and giving up and taking space and using that given space to try and take advantage of the opponent's now more cornered position and giving up space as a means to catch an opponent who is trying to whiff you, right? Like that's like it's an ebb and flow. Like when top players like Spargo and Leo are playing, and when they're dash dancing in neutral and one dashes forward and the other dashes back, that's neutral. One is responding to the other guy taking space and giving some up, and they like dash back, dash forward. It's like a dance. That's neutral. It's not just two players running away from each other the entire time. That's not neutral. That's camping.
Remember
a lot of people get taught that camping is neutral.
Remember the phase where like everyone was like, yeah, you can't define neutral. It's such an abstract thing.
You can.
Like there's like everybody.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, everyone had a big brain.
Well, I think a lot of people. I actually think it's like, to be fair, like I think I was even one of those people, in that it is like hard to describe if you're not very articulate about it. Right? Like the definition I always start with on like my students or something like that is, like neutral is like when both players are in a neutral position, and that like one is not like in some kind of horrible positional disadvantage for anything outside of like, for example, you could argue that no one's playing neutral against Mytha. We all start in disadvantage, right, or something like that. And there's just never such thing as true neutral against like Pyramithra. They're just either winning or they're dead.
Mhm.
Like that's like what happens. And I think that's like an exaggeration, but like there's a certain degree of truth to that. But true neutral is positions that are like relatively equal, as equal as they can be in the matchup, and they are players who are not forced to do anything, who do something to cause an interaction, and then a player who responds to that interaction in a way that does not like cause them to just like immediately get hit, right? Like me choosing to move forward is part of neutral, and how my opponent chooses to respond to me moving forward is part of neutral. It is only disadvantage when someone has clearly lost all control of the position, and either by getting hit or getting cornered. And like that's like hard to define for a lot of people. A lot of people like do play neutral and actually have no idea how to describe it. But I like to, for one thing, I like to explain things because it helps my students. But I also like to explain things because it's how I understand them myself. I have to speak to myself, and like if I don't understand what I'm saying, like if I can't put it into words, I probably don't understand it. So it's really important for me to put neutral into words so I can understand it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. You're also like so good. That's probably why you can like communicate information about concepts so well. Just because like you
I
had
had to do it in a way
yourself.
that made sense to me.
Yeah, exactly. What if your opponent refuses to play neutral and is electing to just stand there? Burst option.
I mean, even that is an option in of itself. Like them, like you reacted to dash forward, like they don't do anything. Okay, they're not fighting for space at all. You move a little bit more forward, and then at some point they're in your burst range. You get to move anywhere that puts them in their burst range, and without putting yourself in theirs, right? And then at some point they have to react because they've now lost the position where they can react to the things that you're doing. And so if they continue to choose not to react, then you just hit them for free. But at some point, like them being in your burst range might, even if it doesn't cause them to move, it might cause them to shield. That means you've gotten them to do something, and they're still at an unreactable burst range where you can threaten grab stuff like that, right? Explain the technical play of the game. It's the part that's really important, and I actually think it's the most interesting part to talk about. And I think this community for way too long was like only interested in like combos and tech. I actually think combos and tech are like, as someone who was a combos and tech guy in Smash 4, I think like combos and tech are like the least interesting part of Smash Ultimate. I think the neutral's far more interesting.
Agreed. I'm working on that right now. That's what watching on my. I'm just gonna start studying way more. It's like that's the stuff that I feel like I lack. Like just understanding positionings more like neutral, obviously, but like just positions, and
yeah,
I want to know why they're good and how I can almost like checkmate them in situations where it's not necessarily like a frame trap, but it's more of like I react, and the only thing that could go wrong is if I just like miss input or something.
Yeah. Something I've had in my head for a while, and I'm not sure if I want to do it like while I'm collaborating with like the Fear League team or something like that, is something that like I'm interested in competitive theory a lot. I've played a lot of different games. I've been to tournaments for a lot of different games. I've been to chess tournaments. I've been to VGC tournaments. I've played in TCG tournaments online. I've gone to like Smash and like gone to Pokemon tournaments. And I've been to like, I played Overwatch very seriously. And all of that, right? Like I just like am really interested in competitive theory. And one of the things like I keep learning whenever I learn a game like competitively is the first thing I always learn is about positioning. Positioning is such a key part of like what makes any like high level game high level, is that you can always look into any game and figure out what good positioning means in that game you're playing, and you will already be like so much of the way to being a top player. Like too many people are like, I want to like copy what the top player is doing. That's good, you should do that. But like too many people miss the detail of when the top player sees someone somewhere, they go somewhere else. Why are they there? What makes like this position worth being in? You know? And like how like when I watch Spargo and someone moves at Spargo always takes this position if he can get it or something like that. He always tries to like be at this diagonal above his opponent so he can land a cloud backer or something like that, right? That understanding what good positioning is and what positions are good for you makes like breaking down Smash so much more easy, because I don't think it's like something that's talked about at all in Smash. No one talks about like freezing a game and like figuring out what position's strong. They're just like, oh wow, that dash attack was really good or something like that,
Yeah.
right? Like why is the dash attack, what about that position made that dash attack really good, you know?
Yeah, I know,
That's the useful stuff.
the broad concepts like neutral advantage and disadvantage, like when, like, I know I would have been guilty if we were talking about positionings. It would be like, oh yeah, I want to be below my opponent, but like that's like after
Why?
this interaction in the first place. Like you have to rewind further to even get there. And I
Yeah,
think
how do you create that? Like, what options do you find, right? You know.
Yeah, and this is actually new to me right now. Like, what I'm doing lately is a result of
Yeah, I've talked to you a lot about this recently, and
yeah,
you're working on it. The general idea, guys, like even like in chess, like right, like chess is a great like one-to-one example because chess is a really simple game in that regard, and that like chess players spend their entire lives studying positions. They don't just study like openings; they study positions. They like going in any random turn in any game and just like figuring out what all the best options are, best possibility, and the best line for the future. That is like what a good chess player does, and I think a lot of people don't. A lot of like people who don't realize that Smash can be analyzed the exact same way. In chess, it's so easy because chess is turn-based. So it's really easy to see when the positions change because one guy moves his position, like his piece here or something like that. And so like now we get to analyze what changes happen and stuff like that. But like every freeze frame on a YouTube video is the position. Now, because like you don't have time to analyze every single freeze frame of a Smash game, that's like gonna be way longer than it's gonna be a couple thousand turns, right? If that's what you like referring to this as, but like every second or something like that, just like pausing and seeing how the players, like two top players, like they move somewhere that one went from point A to point B. That's worth studying in itself. Why did he want to get there, or something like that? And then the other player saw that the player went from point A to point B, and how did that change in the first player's position cause the other guy want to react? And he wanted to dash out, so he was probably expecting some kind of specific threat if he didn't leave that space or something like that, right? And understanding like where your threats are and stuff at all times and how that's causing people to react, that is so much more interesting than like, it's just so interesting. I don't know. I could talk about that forever. So
I think because it's such a new thing for me as well, like, well, I guess the whole journey, like you can't play a perfect Smash game, but if you get better at like your positionings, you know, you can learn from other people, but like yourself, you'll see like if you ever get hit, there's always a position that led to that. And I think this almost fills in like the whole idea of like, okay, when you're VOD reviewing, look at when you get hit, but like knowing how to do that and like why like it really happened, and then like looking at the positioning before that, what they reacted to, or if they reacted in the first place, or if they just kind of like swung, you know.
No reaction is still information. That's like in of itself, like even no reaction is still a reaction, which is the cool part of Smash, is that it's solvable like that. It's like to that degree, it's like positions are solvable, and the difference between you and top players is not that they press the buttons good, it's because they know the position's good.
Yeah,
and they don't have to think about it every single time the position changes. They're so familiar with every position that they're just able to rapidly find the correct answer quicker than everybody else. That's good Smash, and good Smash is really cool.
I think we should start wrapping it up for this week.
Probably should, yeah.
Those are some interesting topics, though. I think that's something that will probably resurface because, you know, there's always new ideas being brought to the table, and I will probably have a lot of questions too. Like I still want to talk about fighting Snake with you because I haven't gotten around to watch myself yet. But any final comments, questions, or anything in chat, let us know. If you have any ideas for names for this podcast, we are always gonna listen. Yeah.
I forget what Icon suggested in my DMs. He was like, Andrew and Doorstop's heavy discussions or something, and then we call it ADHD.
Oh wait, that's actually kind of good.
I was like, if we could figure out like a better like H, I think, or something like that, then like there we might be onto something.
Andrew and Doorstop have discussions.
Or we just get someone on here with like the tag H. Y'all know any banger H players that you'd like to see on this podcast? Let them know.
Wow, I don't know like any H's.
Yeah, It's tough.
Yeah, either way.
Anything else got?
Yeah, anything at all. Bedside chats. That's so funny. That's actually really funny.
True, actually. Yeah. Hold on, wait a minute.
Literally.
Yeah.
But what if we get so like rich? Do we just have to have our beds next to us still?
You know, this would be like really, really good name if you lived in Cincinnati and we like shared a house.
Yeah, you want to get them to pay for it? By Cincinnati, I mean fear.
I was about to say like
The city of Cincinnati welcomes Andrew T.
Green screen it in. I do have a green screen right behind me. It's just tuning it so
yeah.
annoying that I just like kind of abandoned it.
Yeah, we got
There,
that,
I can
that
pull it down.
home vibe though. We got the bedside chats. No, that's funny because history connoisseur Doorstop obviously knows about the fireside chats. Or the
Obviously.
chats. I'm just proud of myself whenever I remember anything from history class. I don't know.
I blocked out so much of history class because that shit was so ass. History learned via YouTube videos and documentaries so much better. Like I don't blame people for hating history because it's like that's how it's force fed to them.
Mhm.
It's so terrible.
Wait. Who was it?
What do you mean? Who was it?
Which president?
Oh, the fireside chats.
Yeah.
I actually have no idea what you're talking about.
Are you for real?
I have no idea.
You're trolling.
I have no idea.
Are you for
I
real?
know a lot about presidents. I have no idea.
Hold on.
I believe you that is a thing, but
FDR. Okay. Radio addresses given by Franklin D. Roosevelt. Between.
or like his war radio, or like just like during the Great Depression.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know like him like having like regular like talks with like the American public was a very normal thing for his like administration. I didn't know that's what they were called.
That's pretty much. So it says a back and forth conversation, an informal conversation. That's literally what we're doing. These are our fireside chats, bedside chats. You know
we
what?
have our.
We'll think.
We'll
about
go
it.
back to that. Yeah. We have a like a slight little history thing in there, you know, for me. And even though I didn't know what it was,
All right. This sounds weird when I say it, but does bedside chats not make it sound like it's gonna be some couples podcast?
I won't lie, that was my first thought. That's what I thought you were talking about. When you said it was a history thing, I was like, huh?
I'm just I always think positive. Pillow talk.
I mean,
Pillow talks with Andrew T and Doorstop.
all right, that's not even subtly, you know.
All right, I think we'll wrap it up there. Keep the ideas coming. Maybe more like us related or Smash related or something. But yeah, we're gonna stop there. Next week should be Monday. We'll run it again. No.
Yes.
Next Monday is my birthday, and I think I'm gonna be busy.
Oh, we could have like a week off, or we could do it on Wednesday again, or we could save topics for the in-person one the Monday after that.
That's true.
That's all on the table.
Yeah. If we wait a week, we have to come back strong.
Surely 2 weeks will give us something to talk about in the Zero Suit Sphere better than a random comment from a streamer and Neo making a very vague tweet about playing ZSS kind of a little. So
that was big news for us though. Like
that was huge news. That is like the best news that we've gotten since Mars got 9th, and then also since before that, like a long time.